guys, Meredith Gorman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
UFC Vegas 88 back at the Apex for a fight night card. I'll look at the main card like usual, provide free picks, leans, price talk, and more big downgrading cards, right, from last week. What a card it was. We'll quickly do a recap here. Big card for myself and clients, going 7-0 on tonight, 12-0 last two pay-per-view cards. You know, that's where the money's to be made, in pay-per-view cards, right? These smaller cards can be tough at times. You know, I'm still profitable on the UFC Fight Night cards. However, when I do lose cards, they're usually on the Fight Night cards, right? The value's not there. The matchups aren't great. Sometimes you feel like you're forcing bets, even though I do try to avoid that. I do have a card every week, no matter what. So at times you could feel like you're forcing bets, even though you do like the sides. However, due to the matchup, sometimes they can go either way, even if the juiced line is available and there, right? So you got to try to find some value on these cards. We'll quickly go over that. It's an ugly card, guys. It is an ugly one. Let's do a quick UFC Miami recap, right? $299 O'Malley proved that he is that guy. Very entertaining to watch. Steps up when the lights are the brightest, right? He is that superstar. The walkout music he comes out to, he continues to prove that. Just picked Cheeto apart for 5 rounds. I expected that. We were on the O'Malley side. How did Cheeto eat that knee? I'm still shocked. Most men would have fell down from that. Unbelievable from Cheeto. His durability is unbelievable. Just the skills aren't there. The speed's not there. The movement's not there. And that's kind of what I expected in the fight. Right? The best moments from Cheeto was 10 seconds left in the fight. You just can't wait that long to show up, guys, right? We know he starts slow, but this was too slow. He picked it up in the 4th and 5th round, which I expected is where he was going to be his best. But O'Malley won all 5 rounds, in my opinion. The closest, I think, was the 4th, but again, O'Malley just didn't get hit with any clean shots unless there was 10 seconds left in the fight. Got him in a nice body shot, but O'Malley dominated. Looking forward to see him against Merab. That should be next. You know, happy for Dustin Poirier. He's one of my favorite fighters. I did mention I didn't bet the fight personally for clients. It wasn't on the 7-0 client card. I did say if you're going to bet the fight, bet the value with Dustin, right? Benoit hasn't proven that he can be there. A lot of hype around him. I like the fighter. He did have some issues coming into the fight. The staff, he mentioned that he only had 1 round in him after, so that's why he came out guns blazing, and he did, right? You can tell. That couldn't have been the game plan if he knew he can go further. He said he couldn't train for a while. It looked like he had the staff, and that was confirmed by him. So Dustin took advantage, and he should have, right? Nice plus money. I think he closed at like plus 200, plus 180. Tons of value there, right? Dustin's been there and done that in 5-round fights, and he's proven that he's still a contender, and he may get Islam next, so excited for that. Michael Page, great value there, plus 110. I was all over that. I think the lines were a mistake there. It should have been even money, should have even been Page maybe as a slight favorite, right? Just frustrated Holland. Holland struggles with that style. Wonderboy showed it, and he continued to struggle here. And I think anyone would kind of struggle with Page on the feet. You got to wrestle the guy. Holland tried, wasn't able to do enough. Page was able to get up when he got down and was able to avoid takedowns. A ton of value there, plus 110. All over Page there. Jack, right? Jack Madeleine, a big win for him. He was losing that fight in the 3rd, got up late, and then was able to catch him with a knee. Wow. That just shows the heart that Jack has. Never gave up, got up to his feet, caught him with that knee. Very well executed from Jack there. I personally was on the over, 2.5 rounds, plus 110. Again, value there. You know, that fight should have went 3 rounds. Obviously, you know, that I wouldn't say lucky, but out of nowhere knee came to end it. And I didn't get greedy. Fight goes the distance. I like that too. I actually thought the fight would end late or go decision. So good cash there for myself and clients, plus 110. Jan gets the win as well, right? Opening fight on the main card. I like them to get the job done by decision. You know, a must-win spot. for him to stay irrelevant, I guess, in that division and in the UFC. Maybe would have moved on if he lost that fight. Another client wins last week were Barber by decision at plus 115. Again, good value there. Pereira won. I had him as well. And then Gamrot by decision was the easiest play on the card in my eyes. Current run, 7-0 UFC 299. 12-0 last two pay-per-view cards. 5-1 NHL run as well, guys. 25-8 free PGA plays over a year now. That's 76%, guys. All documented on the video. We have one pending for the players this week. Hopefully you did catch that. Back-to-back profitable PGA events as well. SystemSportsCapping.com or link.me/systemcapping. A big shout out to a long-term client, Dennis. He's been with me since day one. What has it been now? 4 years? Almost? So big shout out. I've had this subscription service, clientele service, what anyone can take advantage of, receive my personal plays for 4 years now almost. I've been obviously doing videos for 6 years, articles and stuff for 10 online, and I've been betting for over 18, 19 years now. But the subscription clientele service has been going on for 4. Dennis, big shout out to you if you listen and watch. It's much appreciated, your support. Long-term clients are what makes me continue to do this, right? Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at System Capping. We got to talk a little bit free agency. I don't do NFL videos every week, so we're going to quickly go over some key signings. Rapid fire. I do have all these also on Twitter. I was following the free agency, so check that out if you want more about that. QB's Cousin to Atlanta. Wow, they need a QB bad. Not a big fan of Cousins. We know his playoff record, etc., but it's an upgrade from what they have. 4 years, 180 sounds high, but hey, he has the experience. It's an upgrade there. They needed a QB badly. Mayfield re-signs with the Bucks. Well-deserved there. Russell Wilson to Pittsburgh. A little surprising there. 1-year contract, 1-year deal. What does he have left? Yes, it's an upgrade for Pittsburgh, so they'll be happy about that, but let's see what he does there. Running backs, Derrick Henry to the Ravens. Yes, a perfect fit. Perfect fit. Ravens had to go out and get that lead back. Henry leads the NFL rushing since 2018, and Lamar leads it since 2018 for QBs. Watch out, that's going to be dangerous. 2 years, $16 million there. Josh Jacobs to Green Bay. Swapped with Aaron Jones. Not much of an upgrade, in my opinion. Maybe a little bit. 4 years, $48 million. A little steep there in my eyes. Aaron Jones to the rivals, Vikings. Interesting one there. Can't wait to watch those matchups. Barkley to the Eagles. Nice signing. They needed a lead back there, in my opinion. They get 3 years, $37 million. A little steep, but hey, if Barkley could live up to his hype, stay healthy, it's worth it. Pollard to the Titans. Replace Henry. At least to try to replace Henry. Not that high on Pollard as a 3-down back. Eckler to Washington. Nice little signing there for them. Swift to the Bears. Wide receivers, Pittman re-signs with the Colts, 3 years, $70 million. Big price tag there, but Pittman is a number one guy. Evans re-signs with the Bucks, 20 a year. Ridley to the Titans. That was kind of random. 4 years, $92 million. Big price there, in my opinion. Some notable D signings. Chris Jones back with the Chiefs. Big price. 5 years, $158 million. I guess you can say he's worth it, right? One of the best defensive linemen in the league for years. Matabuke, big re-signing for the Ravens. 4 years, $98 million. Wilkins, 4 years, $110. Looks like they overpaid, but a great player for the Raiders. Burns traded to the Giants for a second and fifth. Carolina is just a joke, guys. They're a joke. They could have got 2 first-rounders last year. I don't know what's going on with that franchise. They're in trouble. Hunter to the Texans from Minnesota. Huge for the Texans. They continue to get better. Also added Mixon as well. Keep that in mind. Watch out for Will Anderson and Hunter. Yikes. Better have a good O-line to stop those guys. Patrick Queen to the Steelers, of all places. What a trader, right? And more to come, I expect, in the next few days, recent weeks. Look out for that. Let's get right into it. Got not a great card. I'm going to go over some plays that I don't love anything on this card. It's not a card you want to get invested in too much. Tuivasa minus 125 versus Tabora plus 100. Not a main event anyone asked for. Decent fight, right? Mid-tier heavyweight guys. Right away when you look at this fight path for Tabora, it jumps out, get the fight down to the ground, right? Get this fight down to the ground with Ty's 54% takedown defense. And Tabora does have some decent wrestling, right? Value at plus 100 when you look at that. But, Ty has lost 3 fights in a row back against the wall here. And those 3 fights are against killers, right? Cyril Gane, Pavlich, Volkov. I don't say Tabora is in that realm. A good fighter, but not a killer, not top of the division type of guy. Tabora's coming off a loss to Aspinall, lost in the first round. Just outmatched in that fight. Ty is always live for a KO. If this fight stays on the feet, he's going to be live to get that KO. Tabora is going to want to get this fight down to the ground. The longer this fight plays out on the feet, advantage Ty. Ty could catch him with a big shot. That's always live, right? In this mid-tier type of heavyweight fights, I usually try to stay away unless I can find some good value here. Price is about even, right? I agree with the price, actually. I think this is great pricing by the books. I do think it's a very even fight. It just plays out like this. If Tabora can bring him down to the ground, maybe even find a submission, maybe find some sort of ground and pound, and keep him there, good chance to win this fight for Tabora. So you're backing on that Ty's 54% takedown defense, stays in that percentage, and Tabora just controls them there. On the feet, I don't think Tabora is a bad striker. It's just he's going to be vulnerable for that big shot, right? Ty has power, and he's going to come forward and try to finish the fight, right? So that's always live as well. Personally, I'm not going to be betting this fight. My favorite play is obviously fight doesn't go the distance. It's 5 rounds. You got to pay up for that. But hey, the side here, I do think it's pretty much a flip of a coin. Tai Tuivasa is back up against the wall. I think maybe he will strive in that. It's a downgrade in competition as well. So I'm going to lean Ty for video purposes and fight not to go the distance. Probably play the under in rounds 3.5 as well. Co-main event, maybe the worst co-main event I've ever seen on paper. Maybe the fight turns out to be good, but Battle coming off back-to-back wins. Nice wins over Fletcher last time out, nice win there, and then Lusa, also a win over Fletcher and a 2-fight win streak. So, I get it, this matchup it's a decent matchup, but it's like a prelim matchup. It's not a fight you want to talk about, a co-main. I like the value here with the underdog. If I had to bet this fight, has stats advantage everywhere on paper. With the volume at over 6 per minute, averages over 2 takedowns per 15. And Battle has only a 45% takedown defense. I know a lot of that came in the one fight, but the path is there for Losa to win this fight. And some say Losa is more of a striker, right? He has a kickboxing background that has improved his wrestling and takedowns due to his strength. I think he's going to be a slightly stronger guy in there as well. So, if I had to bet this fight, it would be value at Losa. If I does make my client card, it could for some value, but it's going to be a lower unit, right? Not super confident on it. I do think Battle's a decent fighter, but there is value here. If you're going to bet this fight and you're going to find some value, you got to take Losa at the plus 150. Yes, St. Preux is still alive and still fighting at 40-41 now, plus 400 versus Kennedy minus 550. It's a steep price, right? Me personally, when I always price the fights before looking at them. I get the card, I don't look at the rest, and then I price them. I had Kennedy at minus like 350, 380. So I had him as a big favorite too. 550 is ridiculous. St. Preux, obviously veteran, right? He knows his way around fights, tries to avoid those tough positions. Kennedy, I'm not sold on him. I think he's a pretty good fighter, right? He's just coming off that first round finish though. Dustin Jacoby finished him in the first round. Little concerns there. Obviously St. Preux also coming off a first round finish to Lens. So, I think obviously the age here is a big factor. St. Preux probably, if he loses this fight, will get cut. Right, he gets a decent amount of change and money from the UFC, so I think that's a good cut candidate. And I do think Kennedy wins this fight. He's probably going to be able to hurt him on the feet. If he gets to the ground, obviously we know Kennedy has some decent grappling as well. So yeah, Kennedy wins this fight, but how do you bet it? You could probably take him by finish, but you probably have to play the minus money as well. And I rarely like to bet minus money on outcomes unless it says Gamrot by decision. Like last week, and I'll pay that minus money on it. But yeah, Kennedy's the play. I'm not betting at minus 550. If I can get a decent price finish, maybe I'll look at it. But yeah, this fight I'll have no involvement in. It's priced out, and St. Preux at plus 400. Sure, you can say there's value there, but is the guy going to win the fight? I would say no. Rodriguez plus 150 versus Duguerin minus 175. When I first looked at it, I'm like, let me look a little more on this Duguerin guy. Why is Rodriguez a plus 150? All he has shown is to win in the UFC, Rodriguez. Right? Now, I didn't know this either, right? He's moving up to 145. I had to do my research on this. That's a concern. He was winning at 135, guys. He's moving up in weight here. And there was concerns of him missing weight at 135, so that's why he's moving up to 145. You obviously have those big wins over Rosa Jr., undefeated in the UFC. Ruined that. Simon was a nice win as well. So Rodriguez was looking great at 135. How will he look at 145 against the bigger guy? I don't know. Right, it's a concern there. Plus 150, good value to maybe find out. But Dugan, I like him. I like what I see on tape from him. He can finish fights. He's well-rounded. He can wrestle as well. He looks pretty good. Even though he's 6-0, not enough meat on the bone for me to bet him at 175. I got to see more from him, right? Minus 175, guy making his second fight in the UFC against a guy that's looked good, Rodriguez, beating two good guys already. Again, at 135 and not 145. Right, so hard for me to get to that because of the jump to 145. I think it should be a good fight. Value a little bit with Rodriguez, but concerns. I can't bet this fight due to those concerns. Chaisson minus 210 versus Knizad plus 175. This is a rematch. I didn't even know that, but I obviously look at the Sure Dog, latest fights and all the fights. These guys fought back in 2018. Chaisson won by second round submission, right? And I agree. She should be a 2-1 favorite here. When Chaisson steps up in competition, she loses those fights, gets exposed, right? Her last fight against Aldana proved that. Pennington submitted her in the second round. Knizad also steps up, loses. Vieira, Pennington as well, right? Lower when she gets wins over lower level girls. Both of these are in that same category, so I think it should be a closer fight. I expect this fight maybe to go to decision, no finish here. Knizad, the weakness is the ground game and the wrestling, right? So Chaisson's going to win, I think, in that department. I think she's going to be able to out-wrestle her. And I think, I maybe lean Chaisson by decision. If you can get a good plus money on that, you may want to look that way. But that's going to be the path here. Get the fight down to the ground. Chaisson averages over 2 takedowns per fight. Knizad's takedown defense is not good. So Chaisson's path is there. Will she continue to do that like she did in the first fight? Got the fight down to the ground. She was able to find a submission. I think she can do that here as well. Fun one to open up the main card, right? Or will it be? I don't know. We know Barberena will always bring the fight and try to do what he can to finish it. Plus 200 is tempting, right, guys? Barberena. But when you look at it, Barberena at 185, I don't like it. I think he's better at 170. Meerschault's going to be the much bigger guy here. And I think Meerschault's path is, get the fight down to the ground, right? Get the fight down to the ground. Barberena's takedown defense is not good. That submissions lie for Gerald, right? 27 submissions in Gerald's career. That's very impressive, guys. Very impressive. Very good black belt on the ground. Barberena, not great on the ground, right? So I think that's where he could win. Obviously, Barberena's path is probably to survive the 3 rounds and out-volume Jared, right? I'm not high on Jared. We all know who Jared is, right? He's not great. But I think the matchup is fairly good for him. Imagine paying minus 250 on Gerald. I can never do that, right? You have to find an outcome here. You have to find an outcome here, and it's tough. It could go 3 rounds with Gerald just maybe winning because he got a few more takedowns, maybe some submission attempts that he didn't get. So it is tough, and that's why I'll be staying away from this fight. Maybe we get an entertaining one, and it'll be fun to watch. But, 27 submissions in his career. Maybe there's a shot there that he gets another submission. You get a good plus money price. Maybe take a shot there, but not a fight that I'll be involved in. I'm going to lean Jared due to the size advantage and takedown advantage here. Barberena, don't think it's a great matchup for him, but plus 200 is intriguing. I get it. I just don't know where he doesn't really win this fight unless it's a 3-round war, and I don't think Jared's going to get into that. I think he's going to get the fight down on the ground. So Jared's going to be the play. I'll be avoiding it due to the prices. Again, this card, guys, not great. Not great. As you can just see, I was able to rifle through those. I'm not excited about betting. I will have a client card. It will be small, maybe a bet or two, with a value play on there as well. But yeah, not a card I would have too much exposure on. Like I always say, guys, bet smart and know your limits. I'll see you next week. Enjoy the card.